Reckoning is at hand.
The thing that's unique about Tyrael is the fact that he can not only disable enemy stun lock, but he also enables a melee assassin like Thrall or any other melee assassin. So you can use him for his sanctification to pretty much use it as a 5-man divine shield, and you saw it a lot at BlizzCon. That's why it probably got banned in the finals, because we're using it as a 5-man divine shield. Everyone gets inside and does damage for free, and no one can really react to it because there is no counterplay. I wouldn't say Tyrael is a first pick, first ban, but you can definitely see him in first rotations, and you can almost always see him in second set of bans. He's sort of the tank that you go to if you don't get Muradin or ETC right now. So his Q Eldrin's Might is your normal engage or disengage tool. You use it to slow down enemies while you're chasing it, or chasing them, and you use it to disengage because you can Q again and it will teleport you to the Q. His W, Righteousness, is a shield that you can cast on all of your allies, and it's good for healing and also for not taking an unnecessary poke. You use it when your ally is just about to take some damage, or if you're about to get bursted. His E is Smite, which gives you normally use it for move speed, so it gives you move speed 25%, and it can give your allies move speed as well. So generally you're using it to speed up your allies or speed up your whole team to engage or disengage. I normally use it to speed up my allies when either going in or disengaging. I don't normally use it for myself because I have my Q. And then his passive is Archangel's Wrath, where when you die, you become invulnerable and explode after 3.5 seconds, which is pretty much the most useless trait in the game, but I feel like it can be useful for picking up kills that are just out of your team's reach. And then first heroic is Judgment, where you'll charge to the enemy and stun them for 0.5 seconds. It's not really in the meta right now because every tank has a stun anyway, and almost everything that is meta has a stun, so you don't really need it because it's overkill. That's why you go for Sanctification normally. The second ultimate is Sanctification, where after 0.5 seconds you'll create a field where it will make your whole allied team invulnerable as long as they're inside the field. It lasts for 3 seconds, and it's probably the most broken ability in the game because it's just so good. It's like a 5-man divine shield. So on level 1, you want to normally go for Regeneration Master in most cases because it is the best level 1 talent. However, on maps where you won't get a lot of globes like Haunted Mines or Battlefield of Eternity, you want to take the Purge Evil, which is smite damage to heroes. This is the other viable option because it will allow you to stick on their backline and actually have a kill threat against them. The third choice that isn't really viable as such, but you can pick it in very niche scenarios, is Protection in Death, where upon death you'll grant nearby allies a shield. And the only time I ever take this is if you have an Illidan and you want to trade with one of their backline, like your life for their life, and then put a 50% shield on the Illidan so he cleans up the rest of the fight. That's the only situation in where this talent is the best choice. On level 4, the only talent that I think is viable is Amplified Healing, because it will increase healing done to you, it will increase your Righteousness shield, and it's just the best talent in the tier. At level 7, you want to get Battle Momentum, is because this is the best talent for reducing the cooldowns of the rest of your abilities, and you need a short cooldown on all of your abilities so you can go more ham and play more aggressive in their face. Once you get this talent, you can dive into their backline and you'll have your Eldrin's Might back up by the time that you get low enough that you actually need it before you die. You can play more aggressive once you get this tier talent. At level 10, I feel like the only viable option in the meta right now is Sanctification. The simple fact being is it's so strong and it will shield your whole allied team if they're inside it. The reason why it's so good is because think of Uther's Divine Shield, where he was the top of the meta for such a long time, simply because of his Divine Shield. And this can act like a 5-man Divine Shield. So what you want to do is, depending on your team, you want to either dive, pop Sanctification with your melee assassin and allow them to go really deep, or if you don't have a melee assassin and you have backline that you want to protect, you want to sit right next to your carries that will get focused, pop Sanctification when they engage on them, and you'll probably win the fight as long as you get a good Sanctification. The situations in which you'll get Judgment is if you look at your team and you're thinking like, I'm not going to get any Sanctification value here, which means that the enemy team has sustained damage and the enemy team is kill the front line with sustained damage. You can take Judgment, judge one of their backline and look to blow them up with the rest of your team. I feel like this is the only time that Judgment is actually worth it. At level 13, you want to get Imposing Will, which is the main reason, or one of the main reasons that people actually pick Tyrael. What it does is it slows attack speed and move speed for 50% if someone attacks you while you're shielded. And it also works if they attack your allies while you're shielded. So what you want to do is whenever someone's looking to go on your carries, you want to pop your Righteousness, it will slow the enemies down, and then look to get a pick off with the Imposing Will. I don't think you ever want to go Burning Rage, but I see some people do it. I just don't think it's a very good talent. At level 16, you want to go Holy Ground because it allows the Tyrael player to solo carry their team. If you play well with your Holy Ground, you can literally solo carry a game. But the simple fact being is, if the enemies have a tank where he doesn't have an escape, like Joanna for example, you can Holy Ground them in, split them away from their team, and then burst down the Joanna. I did it quite a lot at BlizzCon, and that's probably why it got banned in the finals, because they didn't want to deal with it. At 20, you want to go for Hardened Shield 90% of the time. The reason why you want to go Hardened Shield is it allows you to go as deep as you possibly can and not get punished for it. The only times that you'll take anything apart from Hardened Shield is you can take Holy Arena if you're in a situation where you've just aced the enemy team, you've hit 20 off of the ace, and you want to go to core. You can get Holy Arena, you'll add more damage and more duration to your Sanctification, but this is the only situation in which Holy Arena is better. So in the early game with Tyrael, in a lot of situations, you're going to be able to Eldrin's Might onto their backline and get a lot of damage done. It allows you to be, or act more like a melee assassin in the early game, because you can normally solo kill almost any ranged assassin in the game, as long as it's not like a Valor or something with escapes. In team fights, what you want to do is you want to sit back with your team, keep using your Righteousness over and over again until you see someone out of position. You want to Holy Ground them and look to kill people off of the Holy Ground. What you want to do with the Holy Ground normally is position it in a way where one person is split from the rest of his team, so they won't get that much healing, and it works specifically well against Monk because he has to hit you to get healed off. It works against Monk mostly because once you hit Holy Ground level, you'll have Imposing Will and you'll also have Holy Ground, so you'll split them away from Monk, and if Monk wants to come in to heal, he has to jump into you and get his attack speed slow, so he'll be healing less because of the Imposing Will. So you want to be picking Tyrael with something that you can enable him with. So for example, either a melee assassin or ETC. What you want to do if you have an ETC is, if you know the ETC is going to mosh pit, you want to queue in with the ETC and drop the Sanctification as he mosh pits, so there's no way that he can get interrupted. Other situations in which you want to pick him is if you have like a Thrall or an Illidan or a melee assassin of some sort. You want to jump in with the melee assassin and drop Sanctification so they can't actually kill the melee assassin, So they're forced to either run away or get wrecked by your melee assassin. Things you don't want to pick him against is like ETC, because you can't really get a good sanctification off without getting into mosh range, and it's really hard to play around the mosh pit, so it's not that great to pick it into. And also against stun lock comps where you're the only target, so they'll only be focusing you, you don't want to pick Tyrael because he'll just get killed in a lot of situations. It's fucking brutal playing against Tyrael. But he's broken. Okay. So against Tyrael, what you want to do is you want to either pick a stunlock comp where you can kill him before sanctification becomes a valid thing, or you want to pick a comp where you have a lot of single target damage. Because if you pick a comp where you have a lot of AoE damage, you're all going to be getting hit by imposing will a lot easier than single target damage. So what you want to do is you want to pick a lot of single target and kill the Tyrael, or kill someone before he can react to the sanctification.
I just want to be the best, and I do think that there's better players in Dignitas, and I wanted to play with them.
At 16, I think probably the best talent is Circle of Life.